I'm making this song for all the people who at times in their lives feel bad. You know when you feel like even your blues have blues? If it ain't one thing, another. If it ain't one thing, it's another. It's a crazy mixed up world. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Life is full of strife. People just aren't nice. Everybody's talking smack, running games on this and that. Racial resentment adds to discontentment. Talk to any guy, he'll tell you taxes are too high. Books, movies are corrupt. Suicide is way up. Kids are a sorry life. Some folks say it's cause of high. Phony ego trips. Wow, everyone has flipped. If it ain't one thing, it's another. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Everybody's shacking up. Married folks are packing up. Country's going up in smoke. Where is Lord with his boat? Blacks marching on DC. 400 years, still not free. Martin paid all a man can pay. Still he's not a holiday. Folks messing with my mind. Make me a Frankenstein. This woman by my side, she's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Can't get my head on right. Problems day and night to calm my nerves. I try and smoke. Doctors give me dope to cope. If it ain't one thing, it's another. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Oh, if it ain't. My funky two-bit job went on strike. I put up with a lot of crap I don't like. And to add to my woes, this ugly woman named Sadie called and said she's having my baby. Lord have mercy. From my day of birth, I called hell on her. A number is all I am. Ain't got no friends, don't give a. If you ain't got no pull, you got to put up with a lot of wool. This funky world is cold. I'll flush myself down. If it ain't one thing, it's another. 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 My friends, I wonder if it's okay if I talk to you this evening. A long time ago, my old grandmother, bless her heart, used to sit me on her knee and pull out her good book. And she said, my son, my child, don't you ever get too grown, too famous, too rich, to forget the man upstairs. And she used to turn to Matthew chapter 24. And there the disciples were talking to the master. And they said, Lord, tell us what will be the sign of your coming and the end to all this confusion on earth. And the good Lord said, my children, watch out that nobody deceive you. For in the last days, there'll be a lot of tribulation, wars and famines and earthquakes in different places on the earth. And there be no understanding among people. He said, but as you see these things occurring, don't you become too discouraged. Just lift your hands high because your deliverance is getting near. And he spoke about the proclamation about a coming kingdom or government of God that would eventually take over this earth and rule over the whole earth. And I turn to Daniel chapter 2. And there Daniel describes that this kingdom will not be an earthly kingdom, but it will be ruled by God. And open the book of Revelation, it talks about how there'll be a lamb who is Jesus and his faithful 144,000 who would bring all mankind back to perfection. Some of you out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Isaiah a long time ago said, for I see old people growing young again. I see lame people running and leaping just like a gazelle. And blind people will see again. And we won't have to worry about our children going outside and play at night. They'll be able to play with us and there'll be brotherhood and peace and tranquility on the earth. Oh, it makes me feel good when I read over in Revelation that it says God will wipe out every tear from my eyes. Yeah, that's in Revelation chapter 21. Why don't you pick up the good book and read about it for yourselves? And my friends, I don't know if I'll ever see you again. Life is certainly uncertain these days. I'm sure you'll agree to that. But keep dreaming a big dream. Get down on your knees and ask the big God in the sky for the Spirit to sustain you. And pray for me. I'll be praying for you. Good night.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you once again who are hungry and thirsty for the true understanding of the Holy Scriptures. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. I want to first address Caucasian people, white people. Any of you, and I mean American white people for now, any of you who honestly feel that I am some type of threat or danger or harm to your country, I would like you to come in and tell me what harm you think I am to your country. For certainly if I'm perceived as someone who wants to see harm come to your country, you have justifiable reason to hate me. You have justifiable reason to be angry with me. That alone would prove that I'm not the one that the Holy Scripture prophesied of to come. For in this, around the 15th chapter of John, it says, I'm going to start reading at the 22nd verse. It says, if I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had the understanding of sin. In other words, you could have claimed ignorance. That's over in Ezekiel also. I don't like to make you think that I'm giving you my private understanding. No, I'm giving you the understanding that the scriptures gave me. In the third chapter of Ezekiel, in the 17th verse, it says, "Son of man, I have made you a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning." Well, if Allah said to the wicked that he gonna die, well, obviously the wicked don't understand this word that's dealing with him. So I'm responsible to speak to you and explain it to you. And if I don't speak to you, then you didn't know that you was being warned. And God said he's gonna hold me responsible. So you see, regardless of how you've been insulting me or whatever, you come in here and you talk crazy to me. I told you that, I'm gonna do this job. Not because I'm trying to cram something down your throat. I'm gonna do this job because Allah ordered me to. He said, "Son of man, speak to them with my words, whether they hear you or whether they reject you. You speak anyway." So that's what I'm doing. So it says, "If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin." They wouldn't have been chargeable for the transgressing God's commandment and not heeding God's warnings, because they reading the book and they didn't understand that the book was warning them. But now I'm speaking to you. So it says, "But now they have no cloak for their sin. He that hateth me, hateth my Father also. He that hateth me, hateth the truth also." They hates the word of God. Because they see where I'm getting it from. They see I'm reading it right out of the word of God. So, "If I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they had not had sin. But now have they both seen and hated both me and my Father. But this cometh to pass, that the word might be fulfilled, that is written in the laws of Moses. They hated me without a cause." Now, I just asked you, what evil do you think that I am to the United States of America? I mean, certainly you hate me. You come in here and you throw insults at me. You say all kind of hateful things. It reminds me of when the people in Jesus' day and time hated him. And because he was ahead of the time, the evil mind still had 2,000 years before the time for it to rule in us was up. So they grabbed him and they spit on him, slapped him, and then says, "Now, prophesy now. Who smote you?" You've been hating men who came to you trying to teach you righteousness You've been hating us for a long time without a cause. At least not a cause you wanted to admit. And that is, you just didn't want to be righteous. So I tell you what, I don't hate you. It's, it's just, it ain't in me to do. But I do hate evil. But I know the difference, and that's why I could never be a racist. Because I just can't hate a person because of what they look like. I just can't do it. You never could. And, that just ain't, to me, it's crazy. I mean, you go up and, like when I used to marvel over how some of the brothers that I grew up with was a lot like white people. And they, I didn't run around with them, but I did see, just like when I was in LA, uh, uh, over in Southgate, was mostly white people. But every now and then, a white boy uh, and girl would come to Jordan High and go to school there. You always had somebody who, you just want, they walk up and want to jump on the boy for nothing. I mean, they're that white boy. They used to call them gray boys. And that was the slang then, call him a gray boy. And I just never was with that. I just couldn't do that. You just gonna go fight somebody because, I mean, you don't even know the man. You don't just walk up and fight him because his skin and because he don't look like you. But, of course, you the one taught us that. Well, that's what you did to us. We hadn't done nothing to you. It's like now, you come in here and you rail on me and you don't care how I reach out to you. I watch you do that to President Obama. And I mean, no matter how he reached out to them white people in Congress, they would not work with him. And I just, I mean, it's sickening. And to think that I would copy you, I could never do that. It ain't in me. And I'm glad. And if you let me, I will take it out of you. With reason. That's all I'm doing right now. Is I'm appealing to your sense of reason. Ain't nobody had no, it's not a baby that's born that had any say-so over who their parents were. Not one. No, nobody go through no line, and somebody standing there asking them what color you want to be. No, nobody asks nobody nothing like that. It's just like when you see you know, if I look at a pig, I tell you what, a buzzard. I even stopped purposely running over snakes. You know why? Because that creature ain't had nothing to do with being made. He came with this earth and he served some purpose. And killing him just to be killing him when he ain't bothering you, that's just wrong. I see buzzards out on the street sometimes. I make sure that I slow down and I try to give them time to take off or whatever. Uh, I just can't do that no more. Just indiscriminately, you kill a creature and don't give it no thought. I just can't do it no more. None of that. And when I come up here to teach, I be trying my best. I can't dress the truth. I can't put no clothes on the truth, but I can speak the truth and try to show you that it's not nothing personal. But tell me something. It's just like me. I like to talk to people who criticize me. Not because I like to hear bad things about myself. But it's very few people that see all of their faults, if any. So when someone else looks at you and finds fault with you, you can either get mad or either take another look at yourself. And if you want to be right, well then if their criticism is justified, then your anger and your being offended is unjustified when you should be humbling yourself and correcting yourself and should be thanking them. It don't make no difference. I know you said, well, they just saying it because they want to criticize me. It don't make no difference. Why are they saying it? That's for them to deal with. For me or you, is if their criticism is true, we need to correct that. That's why we are taught to humble ourselves as children and to not be proud. No matter, just watch children, you know, unless their parents done messed them up. But the average child, any grown person can say something to them and they stop what they're doing and stand there and look and you say, did you hear what I say? Say, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Huh? They can receive correction quick because they ain't learned enough to have an ego yet. They are afraid of most grown people. Me, I'm afraid of the truth. I'm afraid to be on the wrong side of the truth. You know, if someone is justified in condemning me, then that frightens me. It don't frighten me because somebody trying to condemn me, and when I know that their condemnation of me is not based on reality, not based on facts. I could give less than a tinker's damn about that. I mean, a tinker's damn is, they used to be soldering things, and while the solder was cooling, they would put a earth, a little clay or something down around it to hold it there in place until it just sort of, it's just a little bitty dam. You understand? To hold the solder in place until it hardened. Then they just knocked a little clay dam loose, little mud dam or whatever. But anyway, so that's where the term came from. They shortened it to I don't give a damn, but it was I don't give a tinker's damn. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am.
No, the thoughts about this political people and activists are saying that ex-president Joe Biden should elect a black woman as president. He owes black Democrats, black people that. What are your thoughts about that?
To say that I think I understand what you were saying. To say that Joe Biden should select a black woman to be his vice president because he owes black people who voted for him, is it's kind of disingenuous on the part of the people who saying that, because if a white man when white people was openly saying we want you to elect somebody that's white, we call it racism. Now you want to put a skin, you want to put black skin as being the most important thing for someone who would be vice president. And then on top of that, you want to dictate to the president of the United States, if he's a man who's going to run for that office, you want to dictate to him who should be his vice president? You don't vote for vice president, you vote for president. Now y'all need to cut that foolishness out. As far as I'm concerned, whoever Joe Biden wants for his vice president, that's his choice, that's his business. I trust his judgment. And don't be talking about he owe us nothing. He don't owe us nothing. What he owe us is that if he get in that office, is to do what's best for the United States of America. That's all he owes us. And if you try to make it something more than that, you're wrong. When a man becomes president of the United States, anyone who lives in all citizens of the United States has a stake in him. And as long as he does what is best for the United States, ain't nobody got nothing to cry about. I mean, that's common sense. And when I say common sense, I'm talking about among sane people. And when you look at a household, fathers and mothers do what's best for the whole household, not for one of the children, but for what's best for all of them. And that seems to work out okay. When my daddy got ready to go and mother, when it came time, it was 9 of us, was 10. But at one while they was buying school clothes for 9 children. At the same time, which meant that he had to buy not just one pair of shoes, he had to buy 9 new pairs of shoes. Had to buy, and generally he bought three Levi's per child, per son, and that was 7 boys of us, and so he had to buy 21 pairs of Levi's and 21 shirts, and and other people's parents that didn't have but 2 children, they was buying their children 6 and 7 pairs of pants, but my daddy was still spending more money than them, which I didn't have sense enough to see. Because you know how children think. Well, so-and-so's mom and them buying them 5 and 6, 7 and 8 pairs of pants. I can't get but 3. Stupid. But anyway, they did what was best for all of us. So I say to Vice President, former Vice President Joe Biden, choose whoever you want for your running mate. And you all ought to cut that foolishness out. He made the statement that he would prefer a woman to be vice president. I tell you what woman I would prefer to be vice president. I prefer Miss Clinton. That's who I'd be. But I think she would have made a good president. But that's just my opinion. And problem is, you all act like you trying to choose, and to show you how full of hypocrisy you are. I heard all these people talking about lock her up. And Donald Trump stood up there and said if he shot somebody on Fifth Avenue, he would not lose any support. And you didn't say a word. And now we know that's true. Because we know that this coronavirus, I got to show you this.
Brunt of this, overrepresented both in the homeless population and in the population of people with coronavirus, as you say.
Give me a minute
here. Funeral homes. In Belarus, the president said the people could be protected by therapeutic saunas and drinking vodka. And they weren't the only ones in the early days who seemed to think the virus would come and go without much harm.
It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear. And from our shores, it could get worse before.
Now remember now, and anyone who hear me say something that you feel is not factual, stop me and straighten it out. But when he first took office, the Obama administration, when they were making the transition of power, they informed them that a pandemic was expected and showed them 75 pages of preparations and things, and had put in place a team to deal with the expected pandemic. The reason they was expecting pandemics is because they had been up there in the treasures, digging into the ice, like you saw that drill being drilled into the ice and pulling up a core sample. They had been studying those things. And that's, it all started to fall in place for me why Al Gore was so vehemently talking about climate change and global warming and how dangerous it is. They didn't tell you what they found in that, because they didn't want to create a panic. But the scientists was telling them that this pestilence is coming, this pandemic's coming, because they saw what was trapped in that ice up there. And they shared this knowledge with every administration, including the Obama administration and the Trump administration. They sounded the alarm. And Donald Trump and his administration ignored it. Listen. Yes, sir? Someone wanted to say something?
Oh, yes, sir. Sorry for first of all, I hope you and your family are still well and in good spirits.
The same with you. The same to you, brother.
You were mentioning about politics. Second Thessalonians 3:11 is always used by Republicans to cut off food stamps in the war.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I finish with this, I'll go into that.
Thank you, son. Thank you so much.
Okay, yes, sir.
I love you so much.
I love you more. Now listen to this. While everybody knows that when they took office, they had been informed of pandemics being expected and how to prepare for it. Mr. Trump didn't care. And he put people in his cabinet eventually that wouldn't care. Because everybody who tried to sound the alarm got fired. Of course, you were so filled with hatred, and I know how it is. I know I'm guilty of the same thing, not to the degree that you are. But I was so busy looking at white folks that I couldn't see the black people that was working in the Nation of Islam trying to destroy it. Because they had us looking at white folks. That's why I told you I've been in this rodeo before. I've seen this stuff before. I might not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I tell you what, I ain't the dullest either. And I got sense enough to know what kind of actions people have when they care about you. Because I thank Allah, I know how a person acts when they care about you, because I know how I act when I care about people. And I know Donald Trump does not care about the United States of America. And those who are in his circle with him, they don't care either. Everybody who might have cared a little bit, they got the boot. You notice? Have you ever thought about the fact that Donald Trump does not actually lead you? Donald Trump finds out what it is that turns you on and turns you off, and whatever turns you on, that's what he come out there and say. He takes his cues from you. And as long as he can keep the fire burning in you, then you won't be paying no attention to what's being done to your country. I just, like I said, I know you probably take this. I hope you at least take it with a grain of salt. Take it under advisement. Tell me something. How many white people that's listening to me think I'm scared of you? Do you think I'm trying to get in your good graces because I'm scared that you might do something to me if I say something bad about you? Is that what you think? Well then, since you know I'm not no Uncle Tom, and I'm telling you that I'm the Son of Man, look up the Son of Man in the Holy Bible. It says the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. It also says the Son of Man came not to destroy men's lives, but to save them. You haven't even thought about the fact that the United States was great when Donald Trump took office. The United States was second to no country. If you say the United States was second to any country, point that country out to me. Name a country, name a nation that the United States in 2016 was second to. Then why didn't you ask Mr. Trump? What do you mean make America great again? America's already great. What do you mean make her great again? Of course, now the USSR collapsed after being great at one time. Come to find out, thanks to, I think it was Eric Trump, he said that they was being, when they couldn't borrow no money in America, Russia was loaning them plenty of money. And I remember Donald Trump saying, maybe I misrecollect. If it's a misrecollection, maybe if none of y'all don't remember, but I think I heard him say, "Don't believe nothing you see or hear." Who was he talking to? Oh, I know you thought he was talking to you. How many times have you ever heard him really say anything negative about Russia? He got plenty to say negative about governors of the United States, mayors, or senators, or representatives of the United States. He got plenty hateful things to say about them, but he don't never have nothing hateful to say about Putin or people in whose way of government is not democratic republics. If you think I'm speaking order, you can unmute your phone and tell me about it, and tell me what you found fault in, and correct it. But it seems to me he saves all of his criticism for his fellow Americans and heaps praise on everybody who's not a believer in the American's way of life. Okay, well, let's see.
It's better, but maybe go away. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows.
Belarus, the president said the people could be protected by therapeutic saunas and drinking vodka. And they weren't the only ones in the early days who seemed to think the virus would come and go without much harm.
It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear. And from our shores, it could get worse before it gets better. But maybe go away. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows.
The scientific community knew. Well, didn't they? They told him, didn't they? Then why did he get up there and tell the American people that nobody knows? When you are in danger, people who love you, they sound the warning. Anyone who's been in the military knows that the military does not ever sleep. There's always someone on guard duty, while others may be sleeping. Everybody ain't sleeping. Somebody is watching over those who are sleeping to make sure that they are kept safe. And that if there's, in case of fire, give the alarm. Huh? Yes. Okay. Presidents have a saying, not on my watch. A president is put in office to be the watchman for the safety of the United States of America. If someone, you notice, even in a situation where children play and may play with an alarm, the fire department goes into action anyway. If the alarm goes off, them firefighters, they on their way. If it's a false alarm, it's a false alarm. But you got to assume every alarm is true. When the scientific community and the administration before him had just dealt with Ebola and told them there's some more coming. We set up what we could. And this is what we got in motion. Y'all gonna have to do the rest. I remember I used to love to watch the 440 relay because everybody was running full speed. Wasn't nobody holding back. But I've seen people drop the baton and then hurry and pick it up and then try to take off again. But I had never seen nobody get handed the baton and purposely throw it down and then start walking. Until I saw how this administration dealt with the handoff that was given to them. Just a moment. Watch this.
Headline of that mystery.
Someone else. January 2020, the world was in shock. Just weeks earlier, the coronavirus was someone else's problem. Now, it was America's too.
Breaking news tonight, the alarming headline of that mystery virus outbreak. The CDC confirming the first case in the U.S.
What started on the West Coast metastasized, with hotspots breaking out all over the country. New York City was hit hard.
We were looking at a freight train coming across the country. We're now looking at a bullet train.
I want America to understand this week it's going to get bad.
President Trump seemed to be in denial.
One person coming in from China, and we have it under control. It's going to be just fine.
Looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away.
When you have a very small number of people in the country right now with it, it's like around 12. Many of them are getting better. Some are fully recovered already.
It's a little like the regular flu that we have flu shots for. And we'll essentially have a flu shot for this in a fairly quick manner. Within a couple of days, it's going to be down to close to zero.
On March 17th, the president changed his tune.
This is a pandemic. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic.
See how he's been lying to you? But you're supposed to forget everything he said, and he know you would because you like his racism. You like his hatred of those that you don't like. Remember, I was looking at Stargate SG-1, and they made the quote that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And one of them told him yes, and the king who said that soon lost his head. You think just because somebody don't like somebody that you don't like, that makes them a friend of yours? That's a very foolish thought. And that's generally what someone would tell somebody that they don't think it are too bright. I'll tell you a good example. Let me prove it to you. You don't see no reason to stop this coronavirus. You say, well, it's killing more niggas than it's killing anybody else. So it's your friend until it get to you. Then you will understand why you don't play with pandemics. Because they may start one area, But I'll tell you something else they do. Viruses have a way of evolving to other forms. Okay? But anyway, now you heard him say if he shot somebody on Fifth Avenue, that he wouldn't lose no support. And he just proved it. 90-something thousand that they have counted, Americans have died because he did as little as possible to protect the United States, and you still support him. Okay. Right on. Right on. If I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't have believed it. I see people going out to beaches when the scientific community is telling them, don't do it. And instead of them listening to the scientific community, they listening to politicians. If I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed it of the people, and I wouldn't have even believed that of the politicians. I have never seen politicians in something as critical as a disease, a virus that has wiped out thousands of human beings. I never would have thought I'd have saw people who are politicians ignoring the scientific community. The only thing I can think of is that they figure you so dumb now that they can take your country away from you while you watch it. And I guess they're right. Anyway, I'm just wondering why that lady that was, I mean, you all always got these insulting things to say to me. And now I done gave you a chance to come in here and tell me why, and you, what? What am I missing? You know, back when Mr. Ronald Reagan was running for president, you know, the one thing I liked about Ronald Reagan was his coolness. Just like President Obama, he was cool. When I say cool, I mean, hardly ever heard Mr. Reagan raise his voice. Kind of remind you of what President Roosevelt, I think it was, said, speak softly, but carry a big stick. But anyway, Ronald Reagan, he always had they called him a great communicator. Now, before I let you hear something that Mr. Reagan said, let me see if we can get a little bit more of this. Now, Donald Trump was told to prepare and start dealing with this pandemic before it became a wildfire. Huh? He refused. I remind you of that. Let them die. I mean, what? What am I missing? Now come to find out that there's a report that the states are not over-reporting deaths. They are under-reporting them. I ask you again, how many of you think that I'm here to harm your country or whatnot? I'm talking to you white people. I mean, just because, what? As I told you, God made the devil. You didn't make yourself. We made you and gave you a job. And you did it. Why do you think God told Abraham? He said, Abram, your seed is going to be a stranger in a land that's not theirs. They're going to serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Abraham didn't ask why. But I tell you what, before that, God told Abraham, he said, Abraham, look up. Count the stars if you're able to. He said, Abram, at that time he was still Abram. He said, that's how numerous your seed is going to be. Abraham didn't know how that was going to happen. But God did. And later on, he told Abraham, he said, your seed is going to be a stranger in a land that's not theirs. One thing he didn't tell Abraham, he said, and they're going to be made to multiply within themselves until they become a great nation. But he didn't tell Abram that. He just said they're going to serve them and they're going to afflict them 400 years. And then he said something. He didn't say, and then after that, I'm going to let you destroy them. I'm going to let your seed judgment and destroy them. He said, no. He said, and also the nation that they serve will I judge. But they did it to us. Then why are you going to? Because I know more about it than you do. Do you understand? So that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterward, they shall come out with great substance. It's just like right now. Some white people are homeless for the first time in their life. They're getting a little taste of poverty, a little taste of that which many of them thought never could happen to them. Even some black people know what it's like now to stand up in a food line. Why? It's much easier to sympathize when you can empathize. When you can remember, man, I remember when I had to stand up in a line like that. Let me help this brother. Let me help this. But when you ain't never had to do that, sometimes you can look at people and say, if they get their lazy behinds up and go do something, they wouldn't have to be standing up in no food line. Right? I know one thing, I've learned a lot from the experiences I've had in life. I've learned not to be so quick to judge. You tell me, hey, I don't know why that so-and-so did that. Hey, well, be glad you don't know why he did it. Because except for Allah's grace, that could have been you. I don't spend my time trying to judge people who I see standing out on the highway anymore with a sign, will work for food or whatnot. If I got something to give them, I'll give it to them. Because my followers gave me something. So as I told them, I'll give your charity for you. Whenever I give somebody something, you get a blessing because you gave it to me. You see? So, I look at people and now I see myself in people. And, I don't ever want to be guilty of refusing to help someone simply because I made a judgment about a stranger that I don't even know how they became like that. Some of them people that stand out there that's homeless and whatnot was sent off somewhere to a war and got back and was all messed up in the head, and people just kicked them to the curb. You cannot tell the degree of civilization of people by how much progress they have made. You can tell how civilized they are by how many people they left behind while they was making progress. Anyway, I want you to listen.
It was deadly serious. A hospital ship steamed up the Hudson River, and makeshift field hospitals were set up in Central Park. Funeral homes couldn't cope with the number of dead. Meanwhile, the virus that scientists believe originated in bats in China, then jumped to humans, had crossed another barrier and found a new victim, the global economy. Being down, rates going up, stocks getting drilled. It's the lowest point for the Dow since June 2017. The Dow just suffered a huge drop in volatility out there.
Among the retailers that across the country, layoffs now.
There were immediately comparisons with the 2008 recession when banks collapsed.
Now they're talking about getting the economy back up. You notice that the economy got bad when the people got sick. Now, rocket science ain't what's necessary here. If you want the economy to get better, heal the people. But no, you want to send the people back out while you don't have no way to heal them, and pretending that you want the economy to get better. And that's how you gonna do it. You lying, you trying to destroy the United States because you know that the United States is no stronger than its people. And if you can weaken its people. The more of them you can kill, the weaker the United States gets. And then you justify what you're doing in your sick mind. You justify it by saying, well, if they're that dumb, if they're that, they're a bunch of bigots and racists anyway. You see, I'm manipulating them with that. Let them die. Well, yeah, you'd be surprised what people say about you behind your back. But yet I know you wouldn't, because you grew up in the same United States of America that I did. How many times when you was in elementary, junior high, and high school did you see things like that? People laughing and talking with somebody, and the minute that person walked away, they say, I can't stand that so-and-so. But when they walk up, hey man, I ain't seen you and I don't know you. It's good to see you again. And the minute they walk off, say, I hate that so-and-so. What make you think people ain't still doing you like that? Otherwise, how do you explain scientists giving you warnings to wear a mask, distance yourself, and then the man who's the president of the United States, as good as saying to you, ignore the scientists. Go on out there and don't wear no mask. I ain't wearing no mask. You know, and you ain't got to distance yourself. And you're going out there. And what is he inviting you to do? He's inviting you to commit suicide. Only, what is, they say, well, we're going to play some Russian roulette. Now, what is Russian roulette? It's suicide. It's playing with suicide. How many times is that gun going to click before that bullet going to reach that chamber? And this time it's going to send a bullet through your brain. But instead of calling it suicide, you say Russian roulette. So instead of calling it suicide, you call it go out like warriors and face that virus. It's like if paper could talk, or wood could talk. You tell wood, go out there like a good soldier and face that fire. You already know what the result gonna be. Anything that frightens the scientists should terrify the rest of us. But you know what they say about ignorance? Ignorance is bliss, huh? What you don't know can kill you. All right.
Economists reach further back to the 1997 Asian financial crisis, or the oil crisis of the 1970s, sparked by an Arab embargo during a war with Israel, or the Big One. The Great Depression of the 1930s that ultimately led to economic deprivation, and out of it, fascism and World War.
If this runs for much longer, then you're going to get all those consequences, reverberations that we got from the Great Crash.
Selwyn Parker is a historian who specializes in the crash of 1929. Do you see parallels to the Great Depression?
Yes, it's the contagion thing. The way that a contagion, whatever it's caused, always finds the vulnerabilities.
The 21st century economy is like a supercomputer. It's infinitely complex, interconnected, and magically fast when it works. But one errant bit of code, one tiny virus, can bring the whole thing to a halt. How bad is this for the economy? What do you think the real economic costs of this pandemic are and are going to be?
It would enormous.
Nobel Prize winning economist Joseph Stiglitz is, like most people, in lockdown. But from his Manhattan apartment, he sees the impact of COVID-19 very clearly.
The unemployment rate almost surely will soar well in excess of 20%, numbers that we haven't seen since the Great Depression. Household balance sheets will have been destroyed. There was a word about a lot of companies going bankrupt, and of course, once you're bankrupt, you don't quickly go unbankrupt when the economy recovers.
President Trump, who'd often tied his performance to the stock indexes, tried to reassure the markets.
Well, look, we were set to hit 30,000 on the Dow. This is a number that nobody ever even came close to. And even though it's down 10 or 11%, it's still the highest it's ever been by far. It certainly might have an impact.
But the more he spoke, the more he contradicted himself, and the more the markets tanked. President Trump's approach seemed...
That's because when you, in the first place, everyone who would be honest knows that President Trump didn't have nothing to do with the economy. He inherited a good economy. When he came in, the economy of the United States was not in the tank. It was doing fine. Unemployment was down to 4.5%. And instead of him, giving credit where it belongs, he tried to take credit for it. And then when it started tanking, then he wants to go back to blame somebody else. And the sad part is you all who so full of hatred that it's like, hatred is the extreme of dislike. Like love is the extreme of like. When you get into extremes, extreme emotion clouds good judgment. That's why people like to, you notice Adolf Hitler, when he was speaking to crowds, he always liked to get them all revved up, roared up, right? Because he knew then they wasn't really listening. They was emotionally high. And so they liked to go and listen to him because he put them on an emotional high. You understand? He addressed things and showed them how everything that's happening to you is somebody else's fault. And then he pointed to whose fault it was. Right? When intelligence dictates that it's just like their old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Why? Did you ever ask yourself, why is that saying? Is it true? If you understand what someone fooling you means, when you discover that someone fooled you, you discovered that they told you a lie. Okay. Once you discovered that a person told you a lie, you also know that you trusted that person. You did not feel that that person would lie to you, right? Because, and you usually trust people that you consider to be your friends. Is that right? But if the person took your friendship and used it to deceive you, and you still consider them a friend, shame on you. Because he's going to fool you again. If he lied to you once, they're going to lie to you again. Do you understand? Okay. Well, ain't nobody's fault but yours once you find out. That's why he read the snake to him a couple of times, a few times. In the end, that snake told that woman, shut up, silly woman. Said this snake with a grin, you knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. Huh? But to get back to Mr. Reagan, Mr. Reagan was a soft-spoken man. Mr. Reagan even lied to the people on occasion, like that Iran-Contra thing. But in the end, when it came out, he pushed Oliver North aside and said, look, I did that. You understand? He said, I'm to blame. That's what men do. I took a chance to do something I thought it was the right thing to do at the time, and I did it, and I know I shouldn't have, but I did it. And I'm to blame. So if you're going to blame somebody, the buck stops here. Right? That's the manly thing to do. You know? Actually, I like Ronald Reagan. He was just a likable man. He was a likable person. When he spoke, you could feel him. You know, I didn't even participate in politics in that time. You know, I like Jimmy Carter too. I mean, it wasn't no thing out there. But I wasn't into politics. This is white folks' country. Let white folks run their country. That's what I was saying. But I've always had respect for those who was in the office of president. When I listened to them, I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when President Kennedy got assassinated. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad referred to him as our president. He said, we too mourn the loss of our president. He got on Malcolm and set him down and said, when Minister Malcolm said what he had to say about the president, he was not speaking for the Nation of Islam. He was speaking for himself. For we too mourn the loss of our president. It was downhill for Malcolm from that point on. He couldn't see. Malcolm even thought that the teachings that the white man is the devil was racism. He thought that because he thought that was just our way of telling the white man off. He didn't really believe that God revealed that the white man is the devil. He didn't believe that. Even though if he had known the scriptures, he would have known. The scripture says the man of sin would be revealed. The son of perdition. The one that the Son of Man is the only one that could come and save. And the book said, Jesus said, I have not lost any whom thou hast given me, but the son of perdition. Of all them, let me show you. I don't lie to you. Let's see here. It says, none of them is lost but the son of perdition, that the scripture might be fulfilled. Now, let me see if I can find it here. Right quick. It says, the 17th chapter of the book of John. Jesus said in the 9th verse, he said, I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me. This is for all them people who talking about Jesus loved everybody. No, he did not love everybody. He treated everybody with the loving treatment, because that's what righteous people do. Righteous people don't do evil for evil. You can't repel evil with evil. You can only put an end to evil with goodness. So, it says, I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me. For they are thine, and all mine are thine, and all thine are mine. And I am glorified in them. And now I am no more in the world. Remember, Jesus said, as long as I'm in the world, I'm the light of the world. He says, and now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to thee. Holy Father, keep through thine own name those whom thou hast given me, that they may be one as we are. When you understand that the name that he is talking about is the word of God, as is written, he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the word of God. Keep through thine own name. Keep through the word of God those whom thou hast given me, that they may be one, that they may be in unity as we are. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. Those that thou gavest me, I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition. The son of perdition is the devil, that the scripture might be fulfilled. If they are lost, well, the book says the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. That's a promise that was made to them when they were made. Allah told them, he said, on you is a curse till the day of judgment. That's why Revelation, it teaches you, it says, and there shall be no more curse. I'm not here to punish white people. I'm here to try to save them. Tell me something. Didn't you hear the teachings that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you that the so-called Negro, Allah have forgiven you because the evil you doing was not your fault? Didn't he say that? The devil made you like this? Huh? Well, we made him like he is. So if you could be forgiven for being evil and wicked, why are you mad because I'm willing to do the same for him? You see? So we don't react anymore to fools. That day gone. Because that's what this virus is for. That's what the virus is for.
Let him lick your ass.
You see?
It's up your nuts.
So, and now you know the homosexuals, they did that in Lot's day. Remember it says as it was in the days of Lot? Yeah. They were some bold people, wasn't they? In the end, they were some sorry folks, wasn't they? You see? So, so when you see that it's, as the book says, as it was in the days of Lot, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. Well, you know, them homosexuals was threatening Lot and saying that same stuff that he just came in here with. That's what got them destroyed. So we don't react to that. We just teach on it so that you see the scripture is true. See, he just helped prove that I'm the Son of Man. Do you understand? Okay. Now I want all of you to always remember when you see evil, Allah allows you to see it so that you can really make judgments about how bad it really is. Do you understand? You see, so, you know, if you hate that, then you will never become that. You understand? That's a case of people who will not take the lesson. Since Allah does not waste anything, you notice, once a child asks me what happens after you die. Well, most people, they don't understand that death is matter changing forms. That's what death actually is. It's matter changing forms. See, these people that do things like that and show disrespect while the word of God is being taught. This form that we are in was made to submit to God and be obedient to truth, not to be disrespectful. They soon will not exist in this form. You understand? See, the form that, this is the highest form that you can put matter in, is man. As is written, they have a form of godliness, but they deny the power thereof. They deny the knowledge of godliness. Do you understand? Yes. So Allah does not waste anything. You notice when things die, they serve as fertilizer for something that's alive. Right? Now, those of you who are accepting Allah's word,
KKK hotline, what's your
you just had an example, just like just now. You just have an example. Allah is showing you examples of fertilizer. You see, it's like you ever notice when you're growing you know, as a child, you don't see yourself grow. You can't stand up in the mirror and watch yourself grow. That don't happen. It happens only subtly until one day you put your pants on and you see they don't fit no more. They done got too short, huh? Well, just like these people, there may have been a time when I would have went back and forth with them and entertained that. That's too small for me now. That don't fit me. Do you understand? Okay, that's enough. You can put it on a Q&A. And we can't have that. There you go. There you go. Now do the other one too. Do the other one too.
Q&A session has started.
All right. Now put them out and lock the room. Both rooms.
The conference has been locked. The conference has been locked.
Okay, now put the phones back on.
All participants are muted and they can unmute themselves. Q&A session is over. All participants are muted and they can unmute themselves.
There you go.
Q&A session is over.
Now that's the way you deal with that. You see. So, you know, the messenger said it like this. He said, you are in a day of learning. If you do not learn, how does a mind get in you? Someone have to teach you, huh? And you have to be willing to what? You have to be willing to learn. And if you do not learn, you are left behind. And stubble is that part of grain of harvest that's left behind after the harvest. Do you understand? So, you notice, as I said, you will never find a person coming to me justifying their hatred of me. Allah said, if the world hates you, you know it hated me before it hated you. Do you understand? So that's my consolation. You can't legislate love. You understand? You can't make nobody love you. No. So now I want you to listen to this. And this will help you to this is very, very important that you learn these things. But before I put it on, I'm going to let you finish hearing a little more of this others. We got time.
To be, kind of all over the place.
I think he is viewed by most responsible people as just out to lunch. He doesn't know what's going on. No one takes him seriously.
Most states did impose lockdowns, but that comes with a cost that could kill the retail, leisure, and hospitality sectors.
You see, that's something that you never would have dreamed of hearing. That no one takes the President of the United States seriously. You see the damage that he has done to that office? How can you make the United States? You notice, he didn't say he wanted to make the United States great again. He said he wanted to make America great again. Oh, that's a whole new thing. You got to get rid of the United States before you can make America great like it was when they first came in. But didn't Christopher Columbus think America was a great place? Huh? But there wasn't no United States here. You see, he played with words on you. Draining the swamp didn't mean what you thought. It meant getting rid of your government. How can America be great if the office of president is a laughingstock? If countries that used to look up to the United States, countries that used to look at America as a beacon of civilization, a beacon of hope, a beacon of guidance. Now look at America with pity. There used to be a time when the word America and the United States were synonymous. Donald Trump changed that. You hardly, when the last time you heard him say, when he finished talking, may God bless you and may God bless the United States of America? When the last time you heard him say that? When have the first time you ever heard him say that? I don't think I ever heard him say, God bless the United States of America. I haven't heard him say, God bless America. I can't remember the last time I heard him say, God bless the United States. And I know he don't want God's blessing on the United States because he's busy trying to make it to divided states. He ain't trying to keep this union together. He's trying to divide this union and break it up. If you disagree with that, unmute your phone and tell me. Because I'm looking at what I see. I'm not going by nothing but the deeds and actions that I see coming from this current administration.
Industries that account for 20% of the American workforce.
We're already living paycheck to paycheck, already behind in bills.
Our profit center has dropped by 92%.
Unemployment would not cover our mortgage payment. It would be terrible if I lost this job.
I don't know. I don't know how long we can withstand this.
It's a bit like chemotherapy, I suppose. It's pretty horrible for a start, but it works in the long run. If this thing isn't shut down quickly, you're going to get massive economic consequences as well as massive health consequences.
This is where George Washington's advice to you would have saved you, but you didn't pay him no attention. I want to show you something where you didn't. It would do you good to read it, and then you will see more of the truth of what I've been warning you about. Your educational institutions have been gradually undermined, underfunded, and Just like what I'm about to say is going to insult some of you because you worrying about your ego instead of your country. How do you expect to attract the most intelligent teachers when they can make far more money in the private sector doing other things that you think is more important than a top quality education for your children? So it didn't bother you when teacher salaries was reduced down to where it's almost a blue collar job. Matter of fact, I think it is blue collar. If you want to destroy a nation, you must destroy the minds of its people. They even systematically, gradually took patriotism out of the school system. You know why you had so many people volunteering for the military, especially in wartime and whatnot? It's because of these words. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Those words used to mean something to every child that came out of America's school. Now most of the children don't even know that, let alone believe in it. So, if you want to destroy a country, you have to destroy its education, and you have to destroy patriotism. Huh? Donald Trump wouldn't even be president now if patriotism was alive and well in America. Because the minute he insulted John McCain, that should have tanked his running for president. The minute you found out he lied about ducking out on the draft and whatnot, bone spurs or whatever, say, oh, this man wasn't even willing to go in and defend this nation. How are we going to elect him for president? When he was called upon, he refused. And not because it was principles. He just didn't want to go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, let me show you something. Way back in let me see when this was written here. 1796. George Washington said these words. It is substantially true that virtue, or, in other words, morality, is a necessary spring of popular government, of democratic republics. The rule indeed extends with more or less force to every species of free government. Who that is a sincere friend to it can look with indifference upon attempts to shake the foundation of the fabric. How can you look with indifference upon immorality when it comes to putting people in your government that take oaths to uphold your constitution and whatnot? That's a moral obligation. If you put someone in the office of in any office that is immoral, that believes does not believe in God. There's no such thing as a person that has morals that does not believe in God. They may not believe in your religion, but they believe that God is. And that they are answerable. That's why in the oath at the end of it, you say, so help me God. Huh? But anyway, he said, since that is the wellspring, virtue and morality is the wellspring that you go to look for people to be in your government. Promote then as an object of primary importance institutions for the general dispensing of knowledge. In proportion as the structure of a government gives force to public opinion. Listen good. In proportion as the structure of a government gives force, gives power to public opinion, it is essential that public opinion should be enlightened. Did you hear those people that came in here a little while ago? There was a time when the education that people receive in the general public school system of America would have made them feel too dignified. Even if they was thinking those things, they would have felt too dignified to come in and disgrace themselves like that. It's just like a man who, it's not a one of us that don't have naked thoughts. All of us have naked thoughts from that. But when we speak, we don't come out naked. We come out with some clothes on. Because we are ashamed to let certain things fly out of our mouth. Do you understand? Never roll around in the sewer because someone invites you to. If you must go in the sewer, dress for it, go in there and pull whoever you're trying to pull out of there, hating the very garment that you had to touch to pull them out. But don't roll around in there with them. Do you understand? As I told you, you know what a comet is? It's a wandering star to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever, just circling the sun in an orbit that's a little vaster than You know, it ain't accomplishing nothing. It's just out there circling the sun. You notice them people come in here just circling me. They can't get out of orbit. Huh? You know, you would have thought they'd have been gone, right? If I was talking foolishness, they would have been gone. But the word of God attracts everything, attracts everybody. Yeah. You see? Like the sun. Even though Pluto is what? 4,600,000,000 miles out there, as opposed to 93 million with the Earth. 4,600,000,000, and it's still circling the sun. Huh? Yeah. So that tells you that there's great power in the word of God. He maketh his sun to shine on the just as well as who? As well as the unjust. Right? So, but you see, George Washington wasn't no dummy. And because you went to sleep on the watch and let your society and let your school system be destroyed gradually from within, now you have a society where people take more pride in insulting one another than they do in working together and keeping the union that you call the United States of America. So now I want you to listen . I want you to listen to Mr. Reagan. And it's like he could have been here right now. Listen to this.
Next Tuesday is election day. Next Tuesday, all of you will go to the polls.
Now, eventually, it is going to be a next Tuesday. That's the only thing that's out of time. But everything else he says, it's like he's right here, right now.
Will stand there in the polling place and make a decision. I think when you make that decision, next Tuesday is election day. Next Tuesday, all of you will go to the polls. Will stand there in the polling place and make a decision. I think when you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago? And if you answer all those questions, yes, why then I think your choice is very obvious as to who you vote for. If you don't agree, if you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have. This country doesn't have to be in the shape that it is in. We do not have to go on sharing in scarcity with the country getting worse off, with unemployment growing. We talk about the unemployment lines. If all of the unemployed today were in a single line, allowing 2 feet for each one of them, that line would reach from New York City to Los Angeles, California.
Well then, considering this pandemic, if the unemployment was what it was when Mr. Reagan was talking about, and we had to stand 6 feet apart, it would have been as long as from New York to California, back to New York, and back to California again. Ain't it just like he's here right now? He asks, are you better off? Listen to the questions that he asked. Is America still respected? I'm going to slow it down. Let's play it again.
Next Tuesday is election day. Next Tuesday, all of you will go to the polls, will stand there in the polling place and make a decision. I think when you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago? And if you answer all of those questions, yes, why then I think your choice is very obvious as to who you'll vote for. If you don't agree, if you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
Okay. How many of y'all think that the course that the country is on right now, you could stand it for another 4 years? Huh? Is somebody typing something? I mean, forget about how you feel about me. I just want to know, how about you? How about how you feel about your condition right now? You better off now? Now, one thing I can tell you, that as far as the new Nation of Islam goes, we are better off. I ain't saying that because I'm happy about what's going on, but we are better off. As far as the new Nation of Islam goes. But as far as the United States goes, which I am a citizen of, and so it's the new Nation of Islam, this is our home right now. I don't consider having a nice room in the house while the rest of the house on fire being better off. That's temporary at best. Unnecessary at worst. As I told you, I don't need to see the world fall apart, the countries all over the earth destroyed, just so I can rise. I would much rather heal all of you. The scripture says, but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise. Not with destruction in his wings, with healing in his wings. Before you can heal the the things that's wrong with the earth, that's wrong with every country. The minds of those who are sick and in charge, those minds have to first be healed. Heal those who inhabit the countries, and then they will heal themselves. They will heal the condition that their country has fallen into. For the condition of our environment is a reflection of the condition of our minds. And as long as you think that you can undo the problems that happened on your watch, that happened based on your understanding, you are only deceiving yourself. If you could not foresee and stop the things that you have fallen victim to now, what makes you think you're smart enough to undo it when you wasn't smart enough to not let it happen in the first place? If you could save yourself, the scripture would not have said the Son of Man came to seek and to save. So you suit yourself. Your ego gonna, you notice they have a saying that he's ego tripping, or he's on an ego trip. Well, trip don't just mean take a journey. Trip is another word for stumble. You ever seen somebody walking and started stumbling? It's hard to keep from falling when you're stumbling. And the more you fight to fall, the harder you fall. It's just like these people. They already done failed. Stumbled. And now, instead of recognizing those who have knowledge, they're trying to send you back out to work, open up the businesses and we got to restart the economy. How you going to restart the economy if you kill all of your customers? And when Congress had a good idea, the House of Representatives, they've had the right idea, which was, okay, let's put this money out there and let the people, the businesses, give them the money to keep their people on the payroll. In other words, let's subsidize everybody while everybody shelters in place, and give the scientific community a chance to get a handle on this virus. Well, how long is it going to take? As long as it takes. And then when everybody, when the virus is dealt with, then everybody can go back to work and we'll restart the economy because we never really stopped it. Do you understand? But they up there fighting and fussing, saying, no, we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna carry all these people. But in the first place, the money that they given is money that came from the people in the first place. It's not carrying the people, it's giving them back some of the money that they gave you. Anyway, but if you're trying to destroy the United States, well, then that makes sense. Don't give them nothing. Well, I always try to make sense out of things. Sometimes you say, well, they should know better. Well, if you know better, what makes you think they don't know better? You keep assuming, you keep saying to yourself that they care about the United States, even though their actions tell you that they do not. So I'm going to let you go. I thought I'm going to let Mr. Reagan have the last word. I got that from Lawrence O'Donnell.
Next Tuesday is election day. Next Tuesday, all of you will go to the polls, will stand there in the polling place and make a decision. I think when you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago? And if you answer all of those questions, yes, why then I think your choice is very obvious as to who you will vote for. If you don't agree, if you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
Okay. I think that said it all. So may Allah bless us. Yes?
Reggie Miller asks, do you believe in protesting against injustice or forming a will?
No, sir. I don't believe in going out marching and protesting to people that's not listening. I believe that the only people in this country that really protest and can get somebody to listen is white people. If white people hadn't joined with Dr. King, the progress and stuff that he made, that wouldn't have been made. I never forgot that this is white people's country. Since the Honorable Elijah Muhammad woke me up. And he said that you don't go to war with people over that which is their own. He said you go to war with no man over that of his own. You go to war with yourself. If the white man, and he has, freed you and me, then that is the freedom to do for ourselves what we see him doing for himself. You can never get the respect of an independent, self-dependent people begging them You and I must unite like they did, pool our resources like they did, and make our way on some of this earth that we can call our own. We live in communities all over America that's mostly black. We could practice self-sufficiency and self-productivity and doing for ourselves. We could practice that right where we are. That's what I would lead you to if you would get behind me. And we could become productive, making jobs for ourselves, like other communities come to America and do. Everywhere you go and find Japanese people, you find a Japanese village in America, a Chinatown in America. People come here and form communities that are progressive. And we see people doing that all around us, and we refuse to take their example and do the same. The best protest that you can do as a black man and woman in America is to stop marching up in their face, telling them what they already know. When you protest, you telling somebody they're not treating you right. They already know they're not treating us right. What they're trying to figure out is why you keep on taking it instead of doing something for yourself. Now, they're not stopping you from, they couldn't stop you from uniting with me. You just refuse. You don't have a better plan than me. You don't have no plan at all. You just want to go march and beg them for something. I'm not interested in going begging white people for anything. If you got to beg for it, then you'll never get it. A respectable person does not have to beg for respect. Their deeds and their actions demand it. If you have to remind someone that you are a man, you have not reached manhood. I refuse to beg someone to do for me what I have the ability to do for myself. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me to do for myself. He said, unite with your own kind and pool your resources and do something for yourself. That's what I'm doing. And we are successful. And I'm inviting you to join with me as long as you want to be right. I'm not inviting you to join with me and keep on doing wrong. I said, you're not with me on if you're doing that. But if you're ready to do the right thing, if you're ready to do righteousness, then we have plenty of room for you. Wherever you are, you can start following me and helping me to do what is best for us as a people. And instead of sitting there typing to me, why don't you come in and talk to me? I don't mind having a conversation with you. You need to develop your linguistic skills, your verbal linguistic skills. Get off of that internet. And off of there where people talk in little spurts and little broken sentences and things. You are ruining your mind. And you're also making yourself into a coward. Because that computer can't talk back to you. It can't tell you what you just printed there is wrong. What you just said there is not right. So you live in the illusion that everything you printing is ain't nothing wrong with it. And so anybody who disagrees with you, you don't pay them no attention. You just erase what they say, or you don't discuss it. You don't have discussions. What is the purpose of you having a mouth and a tongue and the ability to verbalize what you think? What was the purpose of God giving it to you? If all you're going to do is sit down and type things out and type what you as though you are dumb. It's nothing wrong with your vocal cords. Why don't you use them? And because you don't use those abilities, you are losing that ability. So, anyone else have a question for me? May wa alaikum salam.
For those of us who may have previously spent a lot of time on the internet and
you can't undo that. You can't undo the time that you spent on the internet. All you can do is just correct yourself now.
Yes, sir.
That'd be just like me asking all that pig and stuff I ate before I became a practicing Muslim. Me worrying about that. Ain't no sense me worrying about that. I can't undo that. But I can sure not eat it no more. I ain't ate no pig that I know of since I was 22 years old. So,
excuse me, man. I have another question.
Yes.
So it would just be as simple as, instead of choosing to text someone, just go ahead and call them.
Yes.
Okay, yes, sir.
I mean, here these people. That's how you got a man in the White House that insults people, because you're used to seeing that. To you, that's normal. Because it happens on the internet all day, every day. So what is the big deal? He in the White House now. Well, it would have been a big deal to you if you hadn't spent so much time. If all of you didn't spend so much time doing the very same thing that Donald Trump is up there doing. So evil have become fair seeming to you. People don't think nothing about typing an insult to one another. Curse at you. They don't have to hear it, so in their mind, they ain't doing nothing wrong. I told you the internet was put there for me. It wasn't put there for you. It's killing y'all. It don't excite me. I ain't never been interested in hanging out on in the internet, just looking, being on there with that. That don't mean nothing. All the time I'm on the internet is basically learning a little something about what you doing or whatever. But I don't, I got an email address. I don't even hardly go in no email. I ain't think about that stuff. You got my phone number. You got my address. If a person really wanted to talk to me, they don't have to write me. They can call me. Pick up the phone and call. If you call for good, you will receive good. You know. But don't be calling me with no blocking your number. You know my number. What you blocking yours for? I ain't got time for that. No. You don't want me to have your number? Don't call me. I sure don't block mine. If I call somebody, they got my number. So if you want to be a complete human being, then part of being a human being is being able to verbalize your thoughts. And the more you interact with one another, the more you verbalize, the better you get at it. The more proficient you become. You see how proficient I am with language? It's because I don't do no bunch of sitting down typing the little abbreviations and all that stuff. I speak to people. I talk to people. I argue with people. And I listen when people arguing back. And I don't waste my time throwing insults at people. Nor do I waste their time expecting them to listen to me insult them. I feel too dignified to do that. It is beneath my dignity to just purposely insult people. So, any more questions? Well, as I said, I want Mr. Reagan to have the last word.
Next Tuesday is election day. Next Tuesday, all of you will go to the polls, who stand there in the polling place and make a decision. I think when you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago? And if you answer all of those questions, yes, why then I think your choice is very obvious as to who you will vote for. If you don't agree, if you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
That's pretty plain. So may Allah continue to bless us and keep us safe, who believe in Him and who believe in His word. I had another message for you, but I think I'll wait until Wednesday to share it with you. I think everything that Mr. Reagan said, if you be honest, you had to answer no to everything he asked. And if you had to answer no to everything he asked, you know you don't want 4 more years of that. All right. May Allah's peace and blessings and his protection and mercy be with each and every one of you who respect his word. And may he grant you a peaceful night's rest of sleep and a happy and peaceful morning's rise. And a productive and safe life. May Allah's Salam Alaikum.